Can you even believe this? There was a man once abandoned by the entire Earth, not exiled, not imprisoned, but left stranded in space with no way home. In 1991, Soviet cosmonaut Sergei Krikalev got a message on the space station. Your country no longer exists. He was stunned. What do you mean it doesn't exist? The Soviet Union had collapsed. 15 republics went their separate ways, and not a single one was willing to pay to bring him back. Russia said we just formed, we're broke as can be. Kazakhstan said the launch pad is on our soil, but we didn't send him up. Ukraine said he's not even Ukrainian. Why should we care? Overnight, this cosmonaut, once hailed as a national hero, became a stateless space castaway. And the most heartbreaking part, he circled the Earth every 90 minutes, seeing Moscow 16 times a day from his window, the Kremlin's outline perfectly clear. But he couldn't get down because no one would approve the fuel. No one would sign the return order. His salary stopped, his health insurance vanished. His family couldn't even pay the heating bill back home. And he just floated there 350 kilometers high, watching his homeland split apart beneath him. Let's get to know cosmonaut Sergei Krikalev. You might think he was some inexperienced rookie, right? Not even close. This wasn't his first rodeo in space. He was a veteran of the Mir space station, having completed multiple missions before. When he launched in May 1991, the plan was a standard 5-month stay. That 5 months turned into 311 days. At first he didn't grasp how serious it was. He just noticed contact with Earth growing sparser, thinking maybe they trusted an old hand like him. Then one day, ground control came on. Your crewmate is coming home first. You stay and wait. Wait for what? The voice on the line stammered with no clear answer. By day 147, the station's food was down to a 9-day supply. Krikalev knew things were bad. He started rationing himself, cutting each meal in half, stretching 9 days of food into 18. On the 18th day he finally cracked, and fired off an angry telegram to Earth. Just 6 words long. Does anyone remember I'm up here? That telegram bounced between 15 countries for 2 months, with no one giving a straight answer. Just as hope was fading, the Americans showed up. A NASA signal patched through to Mir, and got straight to the point. Your country is gone, but we can get you down on one condition. Take American citizenship, become a NASA astronaut. They even had a space shuttle ready to go. Could fetch him anytime. For a man floating in space for months, starving and forgotten, this was a ticket to paradise. All he had to say was yes, and he'd have it all. He'd be home. But Krikalev didn't do it. He stayed silent for 3 full minutes, then said something that left the Americans speechless. No, I wait for my country. They thought they'd misheard. This abandoned man had just turned down his only way out alive. Staying up there meant the next thing waiting for him was likely death. Krikalev's reason was heartbreaking. If I leave, Mir will be left unattended. This station is decades of Soviet work. I can't let it be destroyed on my watch. The Americans could hardly believe it, that a person could go that far, especially when his country was already gone. You had to respect that. The Americans left impressed. After they were gone, Krikalev's real nightmare began. Day 178 rolled around. That day, the station's oxygen generator suddenly failed. Alarms blared for 40 minutes straight. He had to fix it by hand immediately. But the repair manual was back on Earth, and ground control was out of reach. He had to rely on memory, taking the whole system apart in thinning air. If he failed, he'd suffocate in his sleep. At the last second, the system rebooted. He'd done it, but his right hand was burned by searing heat, leaving a permanent scar. The physical wounds were one thing, but remember, he was utterly alone up there. Worse than any injury was the sheer loneliness. Prolonged isolation makes you see things. That's a medical fact. Krikalev started hearing his wife's voice, seeing his daughter wave at him from outside the porthole. He knew it wasn't real, but he chose to believe it was, because it was the only thing keeping him going. Every night, he'd talk toward Earth, mumbling to himself. His most common line, "Wait for me." Well, vacation at the Black Sea. Down on Earth, his wife was living her own nightmare. She called the space agency daily. The answer was always, "We don't know when he's coming back." Worse, the ruble began crashing. Krikalev's pre-flight salary of 600 rubles a month now couldn't even buy groceries. To get by, his wife had to move to a cheap apartment in the suburbs, selling everything of value in their home. including his treasured medals. Those medals still bore the hammer and sickle, but the country that awarded them was already gone. A break came in February 1992. The German space agency wanted to send an engineer to Mir and approached Russia. Their offer will pay $24 million, but you have to bring Krikalev home. For the newly independent Russia, that money was a lifeline, but the launch site was in Kazakhstan, needing another fee for its use. Finally, under international pressure, Russia, Kazakhstan and Germany struck a deal. Launch a rocket and bring him home. On March 17, 1992, the Soyuz spacecraft launched. It was Krikalev's 311th day in space. When the docking clamp locked into place, the man who'd survived his country's collapse, starvation, oxygen failure, and lonely hallucinations finally broke down sobbing. His colleagues said they'd never seen Krikalev cry before. That day he wept like a child for 20 straight minutes. March 25, the capsule landed on the Kazakh steppe. The hatch opened to a heartbreaking scene. Krikalev was skin and bones, muscles atrophied, too weak to stand. But the most piercing sight was the patch on his suit, the bright red Soviet flag with its hammer and sickle. People on the ground waved the new Russian tricolor to welcome him. He stared at the unfamiliar flag, eyes hollow. His first question, what am I supposed to call this place now? The irony didn't end there. All his documents were void. Passport, driver's license, even his marriage certificate had to be redone. His salary for those 311 days wiped out by hyperinflation could only buy 20 kilos of bread. His hero of the Soviet Union certificate needed reissuing, a process that would take 2 years. Most absurdly, the space agency informed him, due to his unauthorized extended stay, he owed an overdue boarding fee. He was stunned. You're the ones who forgot me, and now you want me to pay. But this story doesn't end in tragedy. In 1994, Krikalev became the first Russian cosmonaut to fly on a U.S. space shuttle, a symbol that the Cold War was truly over. In 2000, he was among the first crew to live on the International Space Station, the first person to open the hatch of the Unity module. Over his career he flew 6 space missions, accumulating 803 total days in space, setting a world record for human time spent off Earth. After retiring in 2007, he became vice president of Russia's Energia Space Corporation, continuing to contribute to space exploration. He often says those 311 days taught me one thing: a person can be forgotten, but conviction never can be. Up there I wasn't waiting for my country to rescue me. I was proving I was worth remembering. The man once abandoned by the whole planet became one of spaceflight's most legendary figures, not because of how high he flew, but because at the most hopeless moment, he chose to stand firm instead of give up. Countries can vanish, flags can change, but one thing remains forever: the unbreakable human spirit in the face of impossible odds.